What House Joint Resolution 12 examines is a petition to the United States Congress to propose an amendment to the United States Constitution imposing fiscal restraint on our federal government and limiting the federal government's power over the jurisdictions of the state. James Madison in 1787 highlighted in his federal papers, the powers delegated by the proposed Constitution, our current U.S. Constitution, to the federal government are few and defined. Those which are to remain in the state government are numerous and indefined. Those powers, under the 10th Amendment, afford the states, as individuals, the opportunity to restrain when federal government reaches beyond its capacity, particularly in the area of financial overspend. Specifically, what House Joint Resolution 12 proposes to do is to convene a convention of states, or to put it in our legislative terms here in Iowa, a subcommittee, an opportunity to have a conversation about what type of things should be in our U.S. Constitution. I want to be very clear, as there has been a number of conversations about what a convention of states would include, and walk us through very briefly the process by which a convention of states or this subcommittee is held. Specifically under Article 5, there are two ways in which the United States can amend the Constitution of the U.S. One, through a direct act of Congress, and two, through a direct action of the states. This would go to the latter, a convening of states. In order to do this, 2/3 of the state legislatures would need to request the opportunity to establish this convention. During this convention, we as a chamber would identify who the delegates would be and what they could discuss. Importantly, these individual conventions would then allow our 34 states or more, but at 34 at a minimum, to convene at a date and time as established by Congress. Once Congress calls an Article 5 convention, the states will then instruct our delegates to what content they may have a conversation about how we would amend our Constitution. Those proposed amendments would then come back to us, the individuals elected by our constituents, to have a conversation as to whether those recommendations are truly something that we would want to move forward. And only after passage by both the Iowa House and the Iowa Senate would we then have to join with 38 other states, or 75% of the U.S., to be able to move that forward for consideration by the U.S. Congress. So the question truly before us today is who decides? Who decides for Iowans? Will we leave all decisions at the federal level and forfeit our 10th Amendment rights? Will we fail to act when asked by our constituents, by our states? Or will we as the state of Iowa join in a league with others who throughout U.S. history have identified a convention of state as an opportunity to provide a proving ground for new ideas, to hold federal government, whether Republican or Democrat, accountable when it no longer answers to the people, to rein in the trillions of dollars in deficit spending that has happened in both Republican and Democratic administrations, and make them accountable in the same ways that Iowa's legislature has been to Iowa's citizens, accountable in the same way that Iowa families have been to their own budget. If not for us, then who? If not now, then when? And with that, Madam Speaker, I'd open the floor for any conversation.
Sign the petition at cosaction.com and get as many of your friends and family to do the same. With your full address, your state legislators will know that you really are their constituents in their district. Call, email, or request a meeting with your state legislators to ask them to co-sponsor the COS resolution in their state. Get plugged in with your local Convention of States team so you can stay engaged, educate others, and respond to national calls to action. Our success depends on you, so we're inviting you to be part of history. Let's invoke the constitutional solution that's as big as the problem.